As a business owner, you've probably heard this a million times. Influencers preaching about creating content for your business, and you finally decided to give it a go. Only to second guess yourself the moment you hit the record button. We get it. We're in exactly the same position when we're trying to build clip flow here. Darren and I worked hard. We've heard everyone telling us, make more content, you're not doing enough. And we're like, we get it. But when we started, we were just like, well, what do we actually do? And we just ended up throwing spaghetti at the walls, trying to build multiple channels, right? And it became very clear early on that we needed to have a plan if we actually wanted this to be something that we could sustain for the long term, right? What is it that you're going to focus on? All right, so let's keep following the rabbit trail. Let's go through what we're going to cover. Firstly, is it right for your business? Is making content, organic content, the thing that's going to move the needle the most? We're going to identify the business case. Like, what is it that you want content to solve? We're going to audit your current content, if you're making any, and make sure that it's doing the right thing. We're going to assess your resource readiness. What does that mean? That means, like, do you have the resources in your business, people, money, time to actually do it? And is it a good strategic fit? Is it going to help you get there with your goals? And then whether or not you should commit, making that decision, right? So I love these things. I love doing these videos because I get these little Easter eggs. Should we bother? As long as the strategic budget and resources, great. There are time and cost to each of these things, and all paths are valid, right? So it could be organic content, it could be traditional marketing, it could be ads. As long as they're hitting the customers, we're good to go. Okay. So why does this matter, right? Why do we even need to go through this whole process? Well, content may not be your main constraint. You may think that content's going to be the solution to all your business problems, but sorry to break to you, it's actually not going to. It's going to solve some things, but most things are not going to be solved by making more content. If distribution, so how many people see your brand or product, isn't the thing stopping your business growing, you could be reaching for the wrong tool in your toolkit, right? It's just content can help you get seen, but if you're getting seen by everyone already, adding more content is not going to fix the problem. But if you are looking to create a strong brand and build trust with your customers, content can definitely help with that, right? So we need to have our semi-truck full of distribution, making sure that everyone sees it. We want to funnel people using our content and turn them into dollars. All right. Now, is it right for your business? So before we proceed any further, ask yourself this. Between now and 6 months, will content be a core growth driver for your business? And do you have the time and resources to make content worth the investment, right? Because it does take time and a lot of patience and money. Now, if you don't have that, it's probably not right, okay? So if you're in a rush, don't have time, don't have money to invest long term, go watch something else. And if you're like us, you understand that good things do take time. So it is worth the investment. And the organic traffic is very valuable. Now, we need to figure out your business case, right? So will organic content drive customer acquisition? So can or will it directly influence the customer acquisition or retention in your market? So are you spending heavily on paid channels with diminishing returns, right? So paid channels are like your Meta, your Google ads, all those kind of things. Do you need to build trust to drive sales? So some things need a lot of trust before people actually buy. Think about info services. Think about services where you're offering, like you can actually show that you are an authority in the space, right? That's something that's really important. Like you're the best lawyer. You need to actually be able to prove that so that people can trust that and then pay the high ticket or the high dollar value. Our product offers and insights going unseen because you can't actually distribute them. So like you're adding new features to your app and no one sees them because no one's seeing any of your content, or you're not even doing paid ads. You got to see here. So does the viewer equal the buyer? High trust or low cost? Everything has a different place, right? E-com products need lower trust. They just need to show, reviews are good and showing a product. And like, I want that thing. Cool. And yeah, so if you answered at least yes to 2 of them, we reckon content operations is probably something that's going to be really good for your business, right? Should we continue? Let's go. Now, who does not love a good audit? Literally almost everybody. So let's have a look at your current content, right? So before we get started, we obviously need to understand what you are currently doing. So what you want to do is you want to start by mapping out your content pipeline from idea to publishing and all the steps in between. So what does it look like when you get an idea for a piece of content, and we're talking organic content here, what does it look like to go from there to actually pushing publish on Instagram, on YouTube, or whatever app platform you're using, TikTok, LinkedIn, etc. Take those steps and put them down in a row. That is going to really help you. Now, you want to track how many hours a week you are actually spending doing those things. And we want to think about things like founder time and key team members, probably the people that you pay the most money. So you want to make sure that the time is used wisely. And you also want to identify what stages or where your content is getting stuck. So it could be like we get to the record stage and then it's really difficult to actually get the founder to sit down and do the video. Or we get to the editing stage and then we struggle with outsourced editing or freelance, or I got to get Jeff from marketing to come and look at the video and make sure it looks good. Where are those constraints? What needs to be fixed? And then also you want to document how many pieces are published right now per month. And if it's consistent, like are you having good months and then poor months? And why is that happening? So we want to figure that out. And this is where we can look at bottlenecks, right? We can say like, if more than 40% of the founder or the business owner's time is spent on content, less than 80% of content shipped without your approval. So you only need to look at 20%. Does that happen or not? Right? If you have to look at 80% of the content or 100% of it, you got a bottleneck. And then is 50% inconsistent and delayed. So when you wanted to publish it just before, the Black Friday sale or something, is that happening? And then causing knock-on effects. Right. So now that you know you're a good fit for this, to make content full-time, and it's a primary focus for your business, you need to understand, and I'm sorry, it's a spoiler, but it does cost time and money. I have said that before, but as long as you understand that, like anything in business, there are things that are worth spending on. So every business is limited by resources, no matter what size they are. Funnily enough, the bigger you are doesn't mean you have no problems and you have unlimited resources. You always are resource limited because your goals are just bigger, right? And it could be money, skills, or time. So sometimes you can have a lot of money, but you don't have the skills to implement all the time. So there's lots of different ways we can be constrained. Now, do you have the budget in your business to be able to hire at least 2 dedicated content ops roles in the next 3 to 6 months? We believe that this is super key if you are taking content seriously for your business. Now, obviously, this video is about that. If you don't, it's not a serious component, you're probably not watching this video. But if you are, we think you need at least two roles here. Do you have enough ongoing content ideas, like product updates, customer stories, insights to feed the system? And I'm going to tell you here, if you're doing business and you're talking with customers, you probably do. You just need to change how you think about it. And every time you have the opportunity to talk to a customer, find a pain point. For instance, if you're like in health and you've just had a client and you've just sat with them and they had a specific problem, you have an idea to make a piece of content. You can talk about the problem they had, how you solved it. Do things, talk about it. It's a great funnel. So that one is an easy win. You can probably tick that there. Now, finally, is leadership. So that's probably you or maybe your boss, willing to treat content as a function with KPIs tied to business outcomes, not vanity metrics. So what do we mean here? We mean, are you willing to look at things like conversions, views to your website? Are those things more important, are going to be seen more important than how many views a piece of content has? Because we can all fall into the trap, the vanity metric trap. It's where I just want 1 million views, but not one of them converted into a sale. Or you can have a video that hits 100 views and converts to 4 signups. What are you going to value there? Is everyone aligned? That is super key to get nailed before you even start, because that investment over time, important, and we need to be aligned. All right, moving right along. So yeah, I just love this stuff. So making the pieces work together, right? So the content ops potential versus the current business functions. Can the business support the goals of the content ops team? So is content a core driver, like sales is to revenue and engineering is to product? You have to get to that, I believe. Will a content engine reduce custom acquisition cost and speed up go-to-market cycles or create a defensible moat? Any of these things are very important and they could be part of your goals, right? Now, does content have cross-functional value like feeding sales, product, and marketing? So it could even do a recruiting, right? So if you make content that shows culture and a cool place to work, you could actually recruit smart people to come work with you. But if you can't answer 2 or 3 of them, it might be premature for you, right? Because content goes to sales and we want to make sure that we understand exactly why we're doing this. So will content be a moat? It's something that no one else can do. No one else can replicate. No one else can replicate your content, right? It's you. It's your business, your brand. It's your differentiator. Even if you sell the same products, you're going to have a different way. People might trust you more because of that. All right. So now, Should you commit? I personally am someone who, if I say I want to do this thing, I will do this thing and that's it. But it'll take me a little bit to decide whether or not it's worth the commitment. So this is a critical point. If you're still here and you've not along and recognize that content is critical to the long-term growth of your business and currently limited by key team members, it's time to commit to making content ops a core function of your business, right? So there's a link in the description for a little checklist to go through and see if it is right for you or it's just maybe something that comes a bit later. But you have your current content lifecycle mapped. You've measured time spent. You've identified bottlenecks. You've assessed budget and you confirm strategic value, right? And then you can decide, do we commit or do we disregard for now? So no, that's cool. No stress. It'll come for you in a certain period of time. But just wait until content becomes important enough to warrant its own system and business function. I will tell you this and I will stress this. If you leave it too long, you're not going to get in the practice that you need. So like if you're thinking, I will need this in 2 years' time, it's probably better to start now than it is in 2 years' time because you're going to get better. And by the time you actually need it, you're going to be good. Because unfortunately, content is hard to make and get used to, hard to master. You're going to do rubbish content. That is what happens. The more time you spend in front of a camera, the better you're going to get. Probably start now in some way, just so you can get used to it. Now, if you are ready to commit to content op, then you need to start building out your team, right? So you want to actually have it so that as a business owner, you don't have to focus on it because you've got a business to run, not a content team to manage. So if you've never made business content before, you want to watch some of our videos that we've got here as well. We're making videos on that, like how you get started. We've also got some videos of some coming soon about the great educators in the space, that where you can go. We don't claim to be masters of content. We just know how to run business. We know how to take content and use that to drive our business. But there are a lot of people out there in the content creator space that know how to write great hooks, great packaging, coming up with ideas, all those things. Leave that to the experts, but we will share them shortly. And if you've already mastered content and just want to scale your team, check out our videos on how to hire specific roles. So spoiler alert for some of you there, we reckon the number one role is the head of content role, chief content officer, as we like to call them internally. Give it a go. Have a look, share it, comment, tell us what you want to see, what you want to hear, and check out the links in the description. But until next time, catch you on the next one.